So I was just thinking, and the question that came to my mind was, when do your thoughts become your own? And can you recognize when your thoughts are not your thoughts, but more so provisional thoughts? You know what I mean? So I was having a conversation, and in the conversation, like, a lot of my thought processes as far as affirmation was the topic of discussion. And in the topic of discussion about affirmation, the thing that I was saying is, I have a philosophy that I go by, which I call the God power. Now, the God power is your choice. The God power is where you allow your thoughts to go. And I was building with somebody who's deep in thought like myself. And so I could go a little deeper and explain then why I was saying that I find a lot of truth in the idea of you are more responsible for all of the things that you experience than you want to believe. Like, on a quantum level, true, you only have so much interaction, right? But on the God level, the God power, which is your choice, your involvement, like when you end up in a situation, and we use, the guy that I was talking to is also, melanated brother like myself. So, we had the same understanding with a lot of what's going on in today's society. So we were able to use the example of being pulled over by police officers. Now, he and myself are not people that are, we don't give off the standard presentation that would cause for given the places that we were, raised in. Like, we both from Compton. So being brought up in those areas where, I done been in the bucket with the homies, and then they bust, we call it bust, they bust a bitch. You feel me? Like, they bust a U-turn so fast. It's like, like the way they get on you, if you got anything out of bounds, you're going to jail, right? But in the process of affirmation moving forward, like, I was in a situation where nowadays it seems more so like I was able to use my affirmation and my power of thought to get me out of a situation that there was no way that I was supposed to not go to jail in that situation, right? So I was having some car trouble, and it led to me being pulled over because my car was overheating, so I had to keep stopping. I should have already been home, because I'm knowing the streets enough to know when they moving and when I don't need to be around certain areas. They doing sweeps and shit like that, right? So it was one of the times where I knew I was supposed to be home, but car troubles had me still out on the road. I'm had a long day at work. It's already, the sun is gone, and so I get pulled over. Long story short, I don't have anything on me or anything like that. But the officer goes on to say, "Oh yeah, I found a traffic warrant, so I can't overlook that." And I'm like, "Seriously, officer?" Now, mind you, as soon as I got pulled over, the first thing I said to myself was, in my own thoughts, I'm like, I'm not going to jail right now. I'm not going to jail right now. That's too much going on, right? I got too much going on. I'm not going to jail. No, I'm not going to jail right now. Now, mind you, I'm telling this story to my people so they can get an example of what I'm saying as far as how to use the God power affirmation, right? Because he cuffs me. Now, I'm still pleading my case in the whole nine, eyebrows raised, like, you feel me, just straight, you feel me, utter shock on my face and the whole nine, and I'm looking like I'm trying to come to terms, but at the same time, I'm telling him, and I'm beckoning him to have leniency, right, given the situation. I tell him the same thing, yeah, look at everything that's going on, sir. Like, this is not a situation that you really have to press the authority. How much is it for? What? A couple $100? You really gonna take me? Like, it's Thursday night, mind you, and I'm like, I get paid Friday. I wasn't aware of this warrant. I'll be able to take it. I can't take it behind bars. It's gonna be more. You feel me? Like, please, you feel me? I'm asking you to have some decency, from like looking into yourself and find some leniency, because the situation could really alter my whole life, off of a misunderstanding or just, a lapse of my attention to, things I need to take care of. Long story short, he leave me in the car, he go on the phone, and he come back and he's like, "You must got an angel on your side." You feel me? And he let me go. Now, mind you, only thing that was in my mind was, yes, the possibility was very real of me going to jail, but there was no time for me to do what would be the typical response of my thought process. Boom. Anybody that been in that situation, then it's like this, or even if you haven't, let me give you a rundown. So as soon as you in the situation, you got the bubble guts. Shit start going, you get in the car. Now you are in the back of the squad car in handcuffs. Anybody that know, if that second car pull up, now you already start thinking about, all right, let me get these numbers out my phone. Man, I hope it ain't nobody in here that's on that bullshit. You feel me? Oh, I need to try to get this bail. You start thinking, now mind you, as you're thinking these things, you're already mentally in jail. You already you already visually can see yourself in that environment saying, that's, and so you're manifesting it. I wouldn't allow myself to do that because I've been on a process of trying to recognize when that is, because one of my mantras is you either control your God power manually or automatic. I don't like automatic. I don't like autopilot. You feel me? Now you can only achieve you feel me, like Super Saiyan type shit, like on some on autopilot, but it's a different kind of autopilot. It's a different type of where you move in action more than thought, and it's almost it could be said that you are moving more in spirit than you are in the physical, when that happens, because you'll be doing something that's a magnificent feat and you're doing it so carelessly. If somebody like I gave the example, I said, I don't think when Michael Jordan did his infamous dunk that became the logo for his brand, I don't think when he was about to do that dunk, he was like, all right, I'm gonna take 3 steps and then I'm gonna spread my legs in a triangular direction to where I'm a statue. I don't think it was just a natural, you feel me? Like when painters paint and when musicians create, like in the raw sense of creation, it's more of just an action. You've given thought to something to be created, but it's not as tedious or meticulous to the details of where doubt starts to arise, because there's a thin line. There's a line in the sand when it comes to that, like overthinking it. When you get to a process to where you start overthinking things, right? It's because, and I heard this saying statistically, that we are only, by societal grooming, we are only 25% optimistic and 75% pessimistic. So once I heard that paradigm, I took that and I implemented it to start trying to recognize how to be more of a positive person by saying, okay, so let me break it down to myself like this. So I'll give a perfect example, right? So like I'm about to go get it in at the gym. Anybody that work out or trying to get in shape or trying to do something like that knows that I said, for myself, I recognize how that can work. My first positive, optimistic 25% said, I want to work out. I want to get in better shape. The 3 following were all things to go against that whole idea. It's not a good time. I don't feel like being so, like, it's always more reasons why not to. But there's also another saying, which is, I think it takes just as much energy to not be in shape as it does to be in shape. Because when I wasn't in as good of shape, I can honestly say I still had the thought to be in shape. Like, I'm sure anybody that's out of shape can understand what I mean when I say you'll be in a situation where it's not about like being uncomfortable with yourself, but when you see an example of what you could potentially be, is one of the hardest things that people wrestle with, I think. And that, because it's like you see this example and then it makes everything, people only understand things from their own experiences, and that's why a lot of things are created to make us live vicariously through others, which is something I'm trying to break away from, because you're the star of your movie. I was even saying that in the same conversation, I'm saying all this. I'm like I'm having a conversation with you, because a lot of these thoughts are just reoccurring thoughts that I've been wanting to share. And so now I'm just, I'm trying to touch some like-minded minds. And I know somebody else needs to hear this too. Not just me. I need to let some of these thoughts, circulate. It's like currency. You sit on it, it's not really going to do what it's supposed to do. You gotta let it. It's called currency. So the current got to flow. So I'm trying to let the information, which is the most priceless one, because the sound that we moving on, so, but I digress. But in the example of seeing something that is a positive example of what you could be, it makes you start to look at yourself, and now, that negativity starts to set in. But when I was more so the topic of discussion, that was also kind of like a preface, because when I have these type of discussions, I always kind of look at it from an occult aspect, which is something I'm gonna touch on later. But when you have more of a spiritual understanding and you can look at things from the idea of, it's like from the Schoolage of Bobby Hemmett, where he goes to say you have to separate yourself from the morality. Is something that was taught. Like, you don't teach a lion to be a lion. A shark didn't have to learn how to be a shark. It just is. So we didn't have to learn, or at least all of us didn't, because I don't really believe that. I think that there's two types of people here. There's a duality. You feel me? And I don't even mean so much so like what I've usually been fed, and please comment, and let's just dig deeper into this idea. Just run with me, just for a minute. When the alleged moon landing happened, the speech that was some of the words that were most famous from that event were a small step for man and a giant step for mankind. Like, what? A kind of man. It's a kind of man, but it's not a man. Like, it's not a human. Even there are humans and then there's non-humans. Let's just leave that right there, right? But getting back to what the whole idea of, provisional thoughts is, like when I'm watching Society, for example, the whole thing came from, I don't like how I see what media is doing with affirmations, and I think we need to be more aware of that, which is they'll just give you a statement and say it as truth. Everybody is speaking their statements like truth, and then they leaving out like effort. When the trend first started, I liked it because I respected it. I don't say a lot. I still don't like it, but I respected it because it had a piece of honesty to it, which was, in quotations, let's argue, right? Because it's a part of the whole trolling era that came in, where they're trying to incite. It's like energy flow. Everything is about getting the energy to flow in a certain direction right now, and it's like 2-minute warning type shit. It's like Black Friday energy sale. Motherfuckers is getting trampled over, you feel me? Like pushing the next person to the side to get what they need to get, and so on and so forth. So what I'm noticing is, like, for example, I hate even using one of these examples, but I'll go with it because it's right at this point in time when I was doing this. It's a current event, which everything is repetitive, but the attack of certain celebrities of color, or of melanated celebrities, or urban. I don't know. I need a better word for that. I still don't know about black. Like black. I know it's black, but at the same time, we not all black though. I'll talk about that on another video. But how they're, the whole Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, right, and this misuse of the energy of innocence versus those who are able to, do the same and be more dismissed, like your Harvey Weinsteins, your Elvis Presleys, who are gonna dig up, our dead legends, And we have to talk about their dead legends as well, and that's what I've been seeing on social media, and we're just doing this finger pointing of, we're really overlooking the wrong, because we don't even really have all of the information to say what's what, so we kind of looking at both sides like, it's inconclusive. Like, if you're a fan, it's hard. And that's what I learned about the power of music, because as a person that has been gifted with the talent to do music, I knew that about myself when the Illuminati became pop culture, which was along the times when I first started my conscious reprogramming. Because I noticed that I would call myself a soothsayer. I'm like, this is like soothsaying. It's like, R. Kelly is a symbol of what music represents, and then it's we have to start looking at life more as symbols than what it is, ideally, because this is where this ties back to bring in full circle what I was saying, the thought process. Okay, we need to be more in control of what we allow the creation of the universe, because to a degree I kind of feel like, and now I'm starting to kind of go left, I know, but we are a biological computer. You feel me? And as a biological computer, you have a hard drive that is downloading everything. Like the subconscious is your supercomputer. Your supercomputer is cognizant of everything that is going on, your subconscious. So the conscious is supposed to censor and only filter and only give you certain parts. It's almost like when you're operating on a computer program, say you go to a website, there's so many different codes, like for example, the IP address. You can see as it's transitioning, when you notice those different, because I'm not that into computers, I'm trying to become more knowledgeable, but just using it as an example, when you notice the different codes that change, you feel me, as it transitions and goes into that process, it's like you wouldn't want to deal with that on the front screen of where you're trying to go. Like the computer heads that really are into that and the binary codes and things of that nature, that's where they do all of the behind the scenes. For example, like imagine if you had to build your own television was the only way you could watch TV. You know what I'm saying? Or just as an example, or being analytical, or it would be a lot less TVs. So we have different, it's almost like your conscious. I'll give this. That was a terrible analogy, but I'll give this one. I think it's better. Your subconscious is a club, right? The security in front of the club is your conscious, right? The unconscious is the doorway to the club and from the club. Right? The people that are allowed to go in the club, or the certain entourage, or the certain ambiance more so, are the ideals, the ideas, the thoughts, the energy, all of that, all of the data, right? So the security is responsible for a certain type of data to enter the conscious. You feel me? Because the whole club idea is set on, they have guidelines on, what type of ambiance they're trying to uphold. The same way, if someone comes up and they're not to, the requirements, the security's gonna, wait a minute, hold on, I'm sorry, I can't let you in like that, right? So this is what your conscious does on a regular level. And just like, this is why I use this base scenario, is because just like the club, everybody is not getting in by the front door. The same way the dude got checked and was like, hey, I'm sorry, bro, you can't get in with that hat, right? He nuanced on the scene. He didn't know, but he perplexed the whole night. He looked over and there's a dude over there in the section with the ball cap on. Why he get to wear a ball cap? We know why he gets to wear a ball cap. Because there are levels to this. You feel me? Certain people pay to go to the club. Certain people are come to go to the club. Certain people, because of their relationships, some people come in the back door. Some people, I'm just saying, the concept of consciousness and thoughts is just like this, as far as you have to be aware of where certain things are coming in. One of my favorite awakening experiences was when I watched the Esoteric Agenda, right? And it broke down influence in society. I love this analogy. So in the influence of society, like for example, when you go to a fast food restaurant, there is a certain theme of color patterns, right? Reds, whites, and golds are predominant, you know, in our fast food restaurants. Think about McDonald's, Burger King, you know, Wendy's, Checkers. You'll see the themes, Hardee's, Carl's Jr. You're seeing a constant theme, familiar theme, Jack in the Box, of reds, whites, and gold here and there, right? Well, what the video went on to say was that these color patterns together, what they realized is psychologically causes the body to feel rushed and nervous, which is, and I'm like, it was like, because I'm like, dang, right? When you go into a fast food restaurant, you ain't been standing, if you walked in and you ain't ordered yet, you ain't even been in there for 30 seconds. If somebody walks in behind you, and you ain't ordered yet, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm taking too long, like in your mind. Then you gonna buy some food that you know that if you made it at home, it's gonna take a lot longer to prepare the food than what you're allowing yourself to believe is okay. Like, this burger is no way that I can make a burger at my house. If I go buy some ground beef and I fry it in the pan, it's not gonna be cooked in 30 seconds. But the environment causes us to dismiss this whole logic and just go ahead and consume. So, and on the vice versa side, when you go into a sit-down restaurant, the color patterns are more associated with nature. You got your blues, greens, and your browns are usually predominant color patterns in your sit-down restaurants, which causes the body to feel relaxed. So you're not thinking about a sense of time, right? So given to that analogy, right? So the waiter came up and was like, are you guys ready to order? Can you give us some more minutes? You know, we haven't even looked at the menu yet. I'm sorry. Like, we're just, give us some more, yes, a few more minutes. Oh, go ahead, take your time. Because the environment is set up for you to dismiss time. So I've always been cognizant of that since then, like trying to recognize. And then that's what got me into, okay, well, why are certain symbols certain things? Why is it, you feel me? Why are certain symbols and certain, so I start to look into that. And that's when you start to understand that there's a reason why they'll spend more money on the advertisement than they do the actual dang show. Whatever they're trying to show you, they're spending more money putting things into your subconscious than they are your conscious. As you consciously watch something, they're putting more effort into putting things into your subconscious. This has been already revealed, where you can find it all online, where people have done their disclosures on Disney, and you know, a lot of the mind programming that comes with you know, this being a product driven society, you know, where everything is brand based, everything is brand, my brand, my brand. So with that, I just think it is necessary, and I'm gonna wrap this one up, you know, because like I said, I can ponder all day on these, but I just thought this would be a good initial. I know, like y'all gonna see, my conversations kind of do that, where, because in my thoughts, it's all in the all. Like, you don't, like my like a friend, a very wise man said to me, there is no getting out of the matrix. You just go to a different level of it. But if you're really recognizing the concepts through the symbolism that they're showing us, it's just another level. Like, even right now, I'm gonna talk some more on that, because I'm gonna start to go on some other things. But comment, like, subscribe, give me your feedback, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. You feel me? I'm gonna start. This is my, you know, Renegade Pharaoh. This is my temp. I'm gonna start coming to y'all, sharing with y'all, because, and shout out to Masterly Foolish. I don't know who you are, but you literally changed my whole life. Like, you got me back recognizing that we are out here, whether we choose to find each other or not. We are out here, you know, so there's no need for you to feel so, because society's like pushing this depression so heavily. So as a person that is naturally, I'm a Pisces, so I'm naturally like overly emotional, you know, and like the best breakdown of a Pisces I ever heard, and I'm doing this video during Pisces season, during the you know, so It's cool, but it said the best description of a Pisces is a scientist that's trying to find the cure to every disease known to man, but in the process of trying to find the cure, they contract disease for understanding. Now they're not just trying to find the cure to save mankind, they're trying to find the cure to save their own lives as well. I have experienced that where my ability to understand and be empathetic to a person has allowed me to be in situations where anyone that as an empath, you always wonder, how can you be misused? You know, isn't this something that's positive? But like I said earlier, in a dualistic society, the rule is that it has to balance out. Even in our astrological scale, we have a sign that is very representative of that, the sign of Libra, the scales. You know, I'm reminded of a lyric back when I did music back in the day where one of the rappers said, I gotta weigh it out. I'm a motherfucking Libra, you know, like the duality of this dimension that we're living in right now. It is necessary to weigh out everything, you know, so. But when you're doing this with your thoughts, be cognizant of the two sides of thoughts. Which ones are yours and which ones are provisional? Thoughts that are given to you and meant for them to change. That's where I'm trying to be cognizant. All right. So, like I said, comment, subscribe, and we'll check you later. All right.